favorite Marvel movies in the past. We've talked about superheroes. But one of the characteristics of Captain Marvel is her sidekick is a cat. So we thought we'd maybe have a little conversation about animals in movies and movies about animals or that contain animals. So
such a weird subsection of film.
It is, because you could really go in many ways. Like, are you talking movies where the animal's the star of the show?
Yeah.
Like the one that we get finagled into watching, Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
So there's a large, like I say, there's a wide variety of subgenres within this particular subgenre. Like I say, you've got the animals that talk that shouldn't.
Right.
You know, like the Beverly Hills animals playing a sport that an animal would not necessarily play.
The Air Bud series.
Or, any number. I mean, there were, there are the animals that are kind of just a plot device. Your Black Beauties, your Flippers, your Lassies. Your Free Willies.
So I'm thinking more like animal as sidekick or animal as plot device.
And that goes a lot into the Disney with their adorable animal sidekicks.
Right.
So
like animated is what you're talking about.
I'm just saying that I'm not really talking about anything. I'm just saying there is a wide variety of animal themed movies.
Right. Well, I think that like if you have something like a Disney princess movie, you've got to have the animal sidekick with it.
Yeah.
Because like you've got to be able to kind of spin off of that. So you've got, one of my favorites, Cinderella's mice. Okay. Or you've got, Pocahontas's raccoon and hummingbird. Rapunzel's chameleon.
Yes.
Let's see. What was Encanto? She had something.
Didn't the big sister have the goats?
Was it a goat?
I forget whatever she was dancing with.
Yes.
Or were they goats? I feel like I don't think she had an animal sidekick, but there were animal sidekicks about.
Right.
Actually, everybody had an animal sidekick but her. Because, like, the one kid could talk to the animals. Bruno had the rats.
Right.
And the big sister had the goats. So, like, I think that was part of the deal, that everybody had an animal sidekick but her.
Well, anyways. If you're talking, though, about live action movies, where animals come into play, a lot of times it is some kind of plot device.
Yeah.
That furthers it. So, for example, one of the big ones from my youth was the Free Willy movies.
Yeah, and how many of those did they actually end up making?
3, I think.
That is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like, that is one of those things that you're just like, okay, I get the plot of Free Willy, but how do you get Free Willy 2 and 3 and further on from that?
Well, they were just very good about that back in the day. The interesting part of that is, the interesting part is, those of us females or people who enjoyed watching teenage boys because we were teenage girls at the time, those of us who were in that era, then 20 years later ended up watching Blackfish.
Yeah.
And boycotting SeaWorld.
Or watching the Jaws ripoff movie Orca the Killer Whale and just wondering when Free Willy was gonna take some initiative.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that was not those of us who were, watching because you crush on it. Who was it in that one?
I have no freaking clue.
Jason Richter, maybe I want to say.
Is that a thing? Is that a person?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, those of us who were watching for those reasons ended up watching Blackfish and feeling bad for the orcas.
Now I can't badmouth because my my teenage crush, Ariana Richards, was in Born Free.
With the gorillas?
No, with the cheetah.
Oh,
That
right.
they raised a lion. It wasn't a cheetah. They raised a lioness. Her and Jonathan Brandis. And then they were gonna set him free. She also did one about a stallion in Ireland.
Oh.
So yeah, so I can't badmouth.
Well, speaking of the gorillas, though, there was the one with the kid who tried to set the gorilla free.
Uh-huh.
Oh gosh, what was that one called?
I don't remember.
Born to be Wild.
Yes. Now, do you remember Zeus and Roxanne?
No.
That was like a dog falling in love with a dolphin?
No.
Yeah, that was a thing.
I feel like I would not have been allowed to watch that because of interspecies love.
And it was a quality 80s or late 90s movie because Steve Guttenberg was in it, I believe.
Well, of course.
So, I mean...
Yes.
But, I mean, yeah. And,
Like-
then there was the other one. There was a Dolphin Tale where, like, they had to build a new tail for the dolphin.
That was like 2000s.
Okay.
I think that was based on a true story.
Okay.
With they built a new flipper for the dolphin.
What about, do you remember, I think, Fly Away Home with Anna Paquin? And I think
Bill Pullman was in that
it was
one.
Bill Pullman. I couldn't remember if it was Bill Pullman or Jeff Daniels.
Nope, that was...
Were they-
Oh, wait. It could have been Jeff Daniels.
Yeah, I think it was one of the...
I think it was Jeff Daniels. With the geese.
Yeah, and they built the hang glider to help the geese fly south for the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that one was sweet. I liked that one.
You know which was another good one, a good Christmas one since we've been talking about it, that doesn't get a lot of play? Do you remember Prancer?
Yes.
Where the little girl finds the reindeer and is convinced it's actually Prancer?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's one. Is that the one that the guy from Ed was in? Or what?
I don't remember. I remember Sam Elliott and, again, Miss Ariana Richards.
Okay, so that one was older. Because there was another one regarding a reindeer later on. But yeah. So you always got the reindeer when it comes to...
Yeah.
Speaking of, there's a really underrated Christmas movie called Noel with, what's her name? The one who you have a crush on. That's not Jessica Chastain.
You keep saying that.
Anna Kendrick. And she's Santa's daughter. And she has a reindeer sidekick in that one that's really sweet.
Okay.
But yeah. I know that there were things like Homeward Bound was a big one.
Yeah.
For me when I was
I remember that one.
You know, you always cry when they come over that hill.
Yeah.
In the end. But oh my goodness, sorry, that was a big yawn. So then you have things like Turner and Hooch.
Yeah.
Yes.
That one came out in the same year as K9 with Jim Belushi.
Right. Was way better than K9 though. I think Turner and Hooch.
I don't know. I liked K9 better because the dog lived in the end.
Okay. True.
Because Hooch didn't make it.
I know, but I'm such a sucker for a bull mastiff though. You know that's my favorite kind of dog.
I know.
So I'm always gonna choose Turner and Hooch over K9.
See, it was better, but like the dog dies, so I couldn't go along with that back in the day.
You're not an Old Yeller person.
Oh
then.
God, who is? Who is? Show me one person who is like, oh yeah, Old Yeller. I love that movie. Like you've never heard one person. You hear, oh my God, no! You've never heard one person going, yeah, let's watch Old Yeller. Come on, kids.
Oh my gosh.
You get that vindictive uncle who gathers the kids around. It's a fun movie about a dog.
Have you ever? I'm sorry. Would you put Cujo in plot device or main character?
I mean, he's the star of the movie.
That's true.
I mean, he's like Beethoven.
Oh my gosh, Beethoven! Oh, I loved Beethoven.
One summer, my family and I went on, like, it was a whirlwind trip. We went everywhere. and we took so many plane rides, and we saw Beethoven so many goddamn times.
Oh, I
Oh
loved
my God.
that movie. I think that movie really spurred my love for big dogs. Because, like, there's just nothing like a big dog who wants to curl up on the couch with you. You know? So, yeah. And they're so sweet. Big dogs tend to be so, so sweet. Oh my gosh. Oh man. I don't know that animal movies of that kind are nearly as common as they used to be.
No,
You
like
know?
say, well, like say in the '90s, we got a lot of the animal playing a sport
Right.
film, which, you know,
Well, and I just, like, you don't really see, I feel like, and maybe it's just because I'm older, I don't know that you see too many family movies of that ilk. Anyways, it's either something really geared towards little kids or just like a regular movie.
yeah.
So I don't know that you really get the Beethoven type of movie.
No, not really. Those are a little bit of the, you know, kind of a relic of a bygone era.
Right. So because of that, I just don't think you get the same kind of animal movies. Like if you look up animal movies recently, you get things like Strays,
Yeah.
which is not appropriate for children.
I don't think it's appropriate for living things.
Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey.
Now, what do you think? What do you think of animal as monster? Like we talked about Orca,
And Cujo.
Cujo, the birds.
I think.
You know.
Well, here's the thing: is like you can play animal as monster, and the animal can be the thing eating you, but it's not that animal's fault. Like, yeah, there's sharks in Cape Cod now. You know why? Because we wrecked the environment and the water got warmer, so they're swimming their way out from the south. Okay? If you go into the woods and you know, camp in the bear's living room, it's your fault if the bear snacks on you. So, like,
Yeah, that is the hard part about watching one of those, because eventually, you know, they're gonna have, like, we haven't seen Cocaine Bear, because you know that they're probably gonna have, that the bear probably dies at the end. That's not the bear.
It's based on a true
Yes,
story.
I know that, but like it's not the bear's fault.
No, the poor thing. Just like if you find a package in the woods and you're a bear, you eat it.
They did there's a really good one way back in the day, and you know the Idris Elba one was kind of a takeoff of that, called The Ghost in the Darkness.
Oh yeah.
With these two lions that were just going to town on these people.
They were attacking people, which
Yeah.
is not a common
Yeah, and
thing.
they weren't eating them; they were just attacking.
Right.
And they had no real explanation for why these two lions just suddenly got a burr up their ass and said, you know, hey, we're gonna just kill these things.
Right. Generally, there's either something happened or there's some kind of illness in that, because that's not a natural thing, right?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the ones that have been the last few years have been really sad ones, like You're the Dog or The Dog's Purpose or Max.
Yeah.
Things like that.
I'm not one for ones where the dog dies.
Well, in Dog's Purpose, we went into The Dog's Purpose thinking, oh cool, a dog movie, not realizing it's literally about a dog that just keeps
Dying over and over again.
Oh my gosh. Man alive, that one was a rough one. The girls were sobbing the entire time. Oh my gosh. So
This is kind of off topic, but way back, like in the 80s, some friends of ours were staying with us when they just moved up to Alaska. Actually, no, this was after they too. And like, my friend's grandmother passed away.
Okay.
And of course, she and her mom were really upset, you know, and we're like, oh, we're going to go out to a movie. We're going to go out to a movie, and we are going to, you know, we're going to just forget. We're going to, nice family film, happy thoughts, you know, and just feel warm. And, you know, hey, this one sounds good. The Land Before Time.
Oh no. No.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, everybody dies in that one.
No, just the mother.
Oh.
Just the mother.
Gosh.
So yeah, I was like, oy.
Man alive. alive. And then, so, I'm trying to think, classic ones that, of course, like Babe.
I never cared for Babe.
Oh, I loved Babe. I thought it was so sweet. That is a movie that pleases me aesthetically. Like, I love the aesthetics of that one. But of course, then you have the precursors to that, Charlotte's Web. Like,
that's a cursed play for me.
What about the movie?
I've seen the animated movie. I've never seen the live action one.
Well, the animated movie's better anyways.
Yeah.
But, of course, coming from Alaska, did you ever watch Balto growing up?
Yeah, I saw Balto.
Yeah, what did you think as an Alaskan?
I mean, it was, as far as movies based in Alaska goes, it was one of the better ones. I mean, better than the actual movie. Sorry about this. We're both
getting over cold.
That's an attractive sound. I'm sure you're loving to listen to. But anyway, it's better than the actual movie Alaska, where they had 2 polar bear cubs as sidekicks. Like, yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah, that's not gonna end up bad.
No, at all. Because little known fact for those who don't know, actual bears are the only they unlike what we're taught, they don't respond to hugs with other hugs.
Yeah.
They respond with a severe mulling. So you need to just. Now, what do you think of the? We don't see it as much, but there used to be, a lot of TV characters have had kind of their trademark animal sidekick or their pet.
Which kind?
Like Columbo had his Basset Hound.
Okay.
Dog.
Frasier with
Eddie. House had his rat.
Oh yeah, I forgot about House's rat. I'm trying to think of more recent ones though.
Yeah, see, there aren't a lot anymore, but that used to be a thing. Is like having a pet that fit the person's personality.
Do you know which movie or which TV show does? Is Will Trent has Betty the dog.
He does. Yeah, he's got the little Chihuahua.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that I think it can really serve a purpose there. Eddie was basically a 4th character on the show. 5th, I guess 6th, I don't know. But yeah, and with Will Trent, Betty serves as a purpose to kind of Betty's almost a service animal for him. So yeah, I can see.
And Dog was just Dog.
Dog on
Columbo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just there for him sometimes.
I do think that
it humanized him, which he didn't really need humanizing, but it was the type of dog you'd expect a character like Columbo to have, a little saggy-faced Basset Hound, just.
Yeah, I think that there are some characters that do lend themselves better. It's like it does humanize them. So you have someone like Elle Woods from Legally Blonde, who may be just a stereotypical, sorority girl, but there's something about having Bruiser there that kind of humanizes her a little bit, and right off the bat makes her more sympathetic. Now, I think that she, kind of does that for herself later in the movie, but I think Bruiser does make her seem more sympathetic.
There's this golden retriever in this movie with Kate Winslet and Idris Elba, where they're in a plane and it crashes and they have to make their way down the mountain, and it's just them and the dog.
Oh.
And what I remember about that movie is just these scenes where they're wandering through and they're so cold and it's so scary. And the dog is just like snow, just bouncing around, having a good. Like the dog cannot look downtrodden. It's like la 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 la.
Well, that's a golden retriever for you. I think I'm trying to remember more TV shows where there is.
There used to be a grand tradition of wrestlers having trademark animals.
Like Jake the Snake.
Jake the Snake had Damien. Coco Beware had his parrot. The British Bulldogs had Winston and then Matilda.
Yeah. I don't really think there's one I can think of right now that has
No one has an animal.
Well, which, I mean, is probably...
for the best.
Yeah, but still, you know, I could see MJF having a fussy little dog. Or, like, Adam Cole having a pit bull.
Yeah.
You know? So...
Yeah. All right. So if you were gonna have an animal sidekick, all right, what would that animal be?
Well, I think that answer is twofold.
Okay.
Because if I was going to be a villain, I would have a snake. Because even though I think that snakes are innocent and sweet and lovely,
No, they're not.
they're seen as creepy.
They are evil.
They're not evil. They're so sweet.
They are
They're
the devil.
Just little wiggle noodles.
They are the devil made flesh. They are all our sins personified.
Anyways, but if I was just gonna have a sidekick that just hung out with me all the time, you know, I think that it would be a cat. You know, like, I love my cats. I love that they do their own thing, and then when they want attention, they pop up and head boop me. And yeah, I think that's kind of my jam. What about you?
I guess if I was a villain, I definitely want a raven.
Oh, see, I hate birds.
Let's see.
Birds are scary. Yeah, they are scary.
Compared to snakes?
Yes. Snakes don't have pointy little feet to dig into you and fly away with you.
Birds are adorable.
Birds are not adorable.
They are.
Birds are annoying and smelly, and their feathers have mites in them.
And they're smart. Like, you can train a raven and a crow to, like, talk to you.
Yeah, and lure you into the woods to your death by the Wendigos.
Hey, like I said, if I was a villain, that'd be perfect.
All right. What if you're not a villain?
You know, I don't know. It's a wide range. It's a wide range. I guess. No, I've always been a dog person, and a good, stout, loyal border collie is always going to be my first choice. But I mean, if I'm in an animated film, I want to go a little bigger, and you know, maybe a bear or a gorilla.
So if it could be anything, like any kind of animal, fantastical or otherwise.
Like, we including like fictional animals in this?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I don't know. See, the thing that most people would say is a dragon, but dragons are too big and too like wild.
See,
I wouldn't want to mess with that.
I would want a dragon that's like the one in Raya and the Last Dragon that could reduce itself to a small little. A little size to ride on my shoulder.
I don't want an animal with the voice of an annoying comedian.
I didn't say I wanted Raya. I wanted one like Raya, so that like it could grow or shrink, and it could curl up on my shoulder and wrap its little tail around my other shoulder to hold on and just kind of ride there.
Give me a dire wolf. Give me a big old loyal as hell fierce wolf.
Yeah. Sure.
What? Now, what is wrong with that?
I don't know. It's just so basic.
It's a big wolf.
Yeah.
What could be more awesome than that?
I don't know.
It's
like
a big ass wolf.
An elephant.
I don't want to clean up after an elephant.
Are you going to clean up after a giant dog?
He can go and do that in the backyard, which is his business.
You forget how big that the dire wolf is?
Well, you know what? It's big. It'd be less big than the elephant poop.
Well, I'm telling you something right now. We're not getting a dire wolf.
I wouldn't suggest it.
Yep.
But I mean, they're loyal. They they go into battle with you. They'll die for you. And then they'll like curl up and let you pat their bellies.
Yeah, I think that
I like any animal that lets me pat its belly. Furry animal.
The snake would be perfectly fine with you.
Fuck that. I am not. No, fuck that. Yeah, I bet he would. from the inside.
You have such a wrong opinion on snakes.
I don't care.
Yeah, well,
I do not care.
fine. You can't have any birds then.
Let the people for the ethical treatment of snakes come and complain to me. I don't care. I hate them.
Snakes are adorable.
They
and
are not.
Sweet and cute.
No.
And
No.
birds are creepy.
You are wrong in that.
Anyways.
But okay.
So join us when we come back as we talk about a person with a different kind of sidekick. A cat that shoots tentacles out of its face. So,
And it's not Japanese animated porn.
Aww. Alright. Bye. Alright.
Okay. We are back.
So let's talk about the next installment in the Marvelverse.
Yeah, and I was actually thinking this when we were watching it, that when we went to see it, I was like, oh, okay, finally another Marvel movie. It's like, we've seen 2 Marvel movies already this year.
Right, Guardians.
Ant-Man.
And Ant-Man, yeah, that's right.
You know, so yeah, so it's not like,
It's not like it's been that long. It's just that we're in a transitionary period.
yeah.
You
Well,
know?
I feel like, so one thing I think we are going to talk about during this one is this film has already gotten a lot of backlash.
Right.
And people are already declaring it a flop. It didn't make all of this money. And
Which still seems early days to me.
yeah, it is. Like, I was reading this yesterday, which that would have been the second
day.
day it was out. So,
Yeah.
you know.
But yeah, honestly, and not to be all feminist about it, this is what they do of movies that are centered around women.
Yep, and well, this film really is an example of what we were talking about last week. You know, the toxic fandom.
Yes.
And we've slowly been watching a fandom become toxic that didn't start out that way, or at least not so toxic, but lately, you know, it's like anything Marvel does, these people just jump all over it.
Right, especially as we kind of transfer from a male-centered superhero universe to a more equitable centered superhero universe.
You know, and my 2 cents on this, and I'd love to know yours, is I do feel the MCU has gotten a bit oversaturated. I feel like there's a little too much out there. Like, I haven't watched a lot of the Disney Plus series. I haven't watched Moon Knight or Secret Invasion or a lot of these, you know, so because there's just not enough hours in the day.
Right, there's just too many.
You know, so I will agree with folks who kind of say that there's just too many things out there.
Right, but there's just, I mean, the thing is when you're talking about the Marvel comic universe, you're spoiled for choice.
Yeah.
You know, you can go in so many directions, and we're not even utilizing, you know, half of the what would you call it?
The pantheon.
Yeah, the pantheon of characters in the universe anymore.
Yeah, so I will agree with folks who say that, who say there's too much, and it's like, but the idea that the quality has gone down, I highly disagree with that.
Right, yeah, I do too.
I feel, you know, even the TV shows, the ones that I've watched have been good.
Right.
Maybe, I'd say for a couple of them, maybe a few episodes too long.
Right.
And it feels like they're stretching it out a bit. But Hawkeye, Miss Marvel, WandaVision,
Loki,
Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
I think that, well, I think there's a couple of reasons that we're kind of in flux at the moment. We're ushering in the younger Avengers. What are they called?
The Young Avengers.
The Young Avengers. I was close. And in addition to that, they had chosen a direction with the multiverse and Jonathan Majors and all of that. And then when your star gets thrown into a legal dispute and you have to question whether or not to go ahead with that storyline thread because, you know, this guy could be a really bad guy, like the actor, could kind of go against all of the things the Marvel Universe is standing on.
Yeah.
Then I think you kind of have to, you know, at least take a pause and figure out, all right, what's our next step?
Yeah, and plus they've had the writer's strike and...
Oh, yeah.
I also feel, and I think we've said this in a couple of other videos or, you know, podcasts now, I feel like with everything from Endgame back, there was a direction. And you could see that direction very clearly.
Right.
You know, the first bunch of films was getting the Avengers together. Then it was the Infinity Stones. So you knew, even with these kind of smaller pictures in the groups, you knew kind of the direction they were headed. And I feel like right now, I think part of it, the writer's strike, part of it, like you're saying, your major star getting, you know, I feel like fans don't quite know where the storyline is going, what the big, you know, unifying force is going to be when all is said and done for this next group. So I think people are feeling just a little adrift.
Right, but I feel like this and Ant-Man and the Hawkeye series, I feel like that I'm starting to see the direction they're going with the younger Avengers.
Well, like I said, I think that people are starting to see it. I just think that we're not used to having to wait or work for it as much. The other ones very, you know, spoon-fed us very carefully.
Well, and it's because that was that even if you weren't deep in the comic book world, that was a universe you were familiar with.
Yeah.
So okay, so let's talk about the Marvels in general. So Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this was before we podcasted together.
Yeah, but I think we did review the first one.
Did we? I
thought we did.
I don't think we watched that one together.
I could be wrong.
Okay, so anyways, Captain Marvel, tell me, like, you liked it.
I did. I liked the original Captain Marvel a lot, and I like Brie Larson. I think
Brie Larson's a great choice for this character.
You know, and Carol Danvers is one of my favorite characters from the Marvel universe.
Do you feel like Carol Danvers is queer-coded?
I don't know. I think she could be, but I'm a little spoiled, I guess. Not spoiled, but maybe, I don't want to say resistant, but I guess prejudiced maybe, because I've read the comics and she never was in there.
Okay.
You know, she's had relationships with Sam. They hinted she was going to date Peter Parker at one point.
Okay.
You know, so she's never been, at least not the comics I've read. Now, that doesn't mean she can't be.
All right.
So...
Well, I think what's interesting about her so far is that they haven't placed her in any type of romantic entanglement.
Which I think is a good thing. Because that's one of the problems... I think we've talked about this before too. That's one of the problems with a lot of the Marvel movies in their early stages. They were very formulaic.
Right.
You know, here's the love interest the character's pining over.
Yeah.
You know, and I think when they didn't give her one, that was a very distinctive breaking of the mold.
Right.
Which I think helped that movie a lot. I think that's one of the reasons why that movie stood out so well.
Yeah. I think that you could read her as either just a strong woman or as a queer woman. I think you could, oh, good thing you slowed down, Mr. Policeman, right there. I think that you could read her either way. So I think that people could recognize themselves in her.
Yeah. So what we have this time, and is that we have it's kind of a team-up movie, kind of a mini mini Avengers, as Carol now meets up with
Monica Rambeau.
Yep, from who is the grown-up version of the little girl from the first Captain Marvel, who we met in WandaVision, and Kamala Khan from the Miss Marvel series,
right,
who all of their powers through, chicanery get entangled, so every time they use their powers, they switch places.
Right.
Which
led to some really interesting fight scenes.
Yes.
Like, I really enjoyed that bit. And I'm not one, if a fight scene does not keep my interest, I'm just gonna check out. But I stayed pretty into the action sequences in this one.
Yeah.
So, so they keep switching places, and they're in space, and they're not in space, and there's all over the place, and then Kamala Khan's family gets involved, which is fun.
And then, so basically, the three Marvels have to fly off and stop this woman who's a member of the Kree, which was one of the bad guys from the first Guardians of the Galaxy,
right?
Who wants to steal resources from other planets in order to revitalize her own, and it gets into a whole thing.
Which I think is another in the line of sympathetic villains. We've had this discussion lately about the sympathetic villain. Yes, you shouldn't take the resources from somebody else to replenish, but also she's just trying to help her people. So it's a gray area villain to me.
Yeah.
She just wants to help her people at home have no pollution, but she's willing to take it away from the other worlds in order to do that. So that's kind of, I think that Marvel's been really interesting with that.
They've always been criticized from even the beginning, which I found very weird, for their villains not being as strong as I guess people wanted them to be.
Okay.
Which I find an interesting criticism. Because people up until the Marvel movies, what people were kind of used to the most were like the Batman movies, and the villains being such huge presence in that. And with the Marvel films, I think what a lot of people have failed to realize is that the villains are not supposed to be the focal point of your movie. The hero is.
Right.
So your villain is not supposed to be this great charismatic person you want to see. Loki was kind of the odd one out in that. Which was not, I don't think was done intentionally.
Right. So he was, I think he just hit at that time period where, you had the Harry Potter kids were getting to a little bit more of a young adult age.
Yeah.
And there was something very Draco Malfoy Slytherin about him. And
I bring that up because I did feel like the villain in this one was not as strong as some of the past villains are, because they are kind of getting into a situation where a lot of their big name villains have either already been used or haven't been brought in yet.
Okay.
So you have to kind of borrow from these lesser known, and sometimes a big revamp of a villain does them some good. And I did feel like this one, the villain was a little bland.
See, I'm not sure that I agree with you there. Like I said, I really enjoyed the idea of the nebulous, kind of sympathetic villain who you can understand where she's coming from and what she's trying to do. I don't know. I feel like that she wasn't perhaps I think maybe she wasn't filled out backstory enough. But I still think she was a strong. She was played by Zawe Ashton, who is British. She's a British playwright and actress. She was in one of the ones you loved last year.
Yeah,
Mr. Malcolm's List.
Yes, she was. She was very good at that.
So, I was trying to remember what else.
Well, I think the actor was good. I just think that the villain was not as, and I think
some more writing and.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of my overall opinion of this one, is that I think it was good. I don't think it was groundbreaking or,
right,
as epic as some of the other ones. I'm sorry.
I think the first one was groundbreaking.
Yes.
Like, especially coming from a female superhero fan, like, to see a woman represented in that way. And, like, it was a really interesting, great... I don't want to say period piece because that makes me feel old, but it
in the 90s,
truly
yeah.
was a period piece.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was groundbreaking, and this one's not so much. But this was a typical second Marvel movie.
Yeah,
this was a good Marvel sequel.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, like you had a lot of interesting fun to it, and I think that is the key factor in a Marvel movie.
Mm-hmm.
What makes a Marvel movie is you have the serious, you have the world's collapsing, you have the idea of genocide, which is strong in this one.
Yeah.
You have these people fighting over land and warring with each other, which is a very sensitive topic at the moment. But you also have levity, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, in the way that, like, it's okay to have fun in the middle of this.
Yeah.
It's okay to have the flirkins pop out, which, I mean, was honestly one of the best parts of this movie.
Yes,
was the flirkins.
Just so many cats.
So many cats in space. So many cats in space. And you have the parents and the family who are, of course, concerned about, like, their teenage daughter, Kamala. I'm wanting to pronounce it like the vice president, but it's not.
No.
Kamala, you have them obviously concerned about them, but also super supportive and super understanding. So, I don't know, I think...
And I think that the thing that holds this one together, that makes it work, are the three leads.
Right.
I think it is clearly, and it's kind of a difficult thing to do sometimes, when you have this shared universe of bringing in other characters into another person's movie and still, having a prime focus. But it's clearly Carol's story.
Right.
It's clearly her arc.
Yes.
But that doesn't take away from the great kind of trio that the three of them make. The three actors work very well off of each other.
The chemistry together is really amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they all have the same, like, the powers that come in the same kind of area, like light powers.
Yeah, light-based powers is what they said.
Light-based powers, and which Monica got hers from
WandaVision. Yeah.
And then Kamala, she was born with hers.
Yeah.
And then of course Carol was giving hers by the Skrull.
Yeah, by the exploding ship. She absorbed all the power.
But they all interact so well together. Like, the personalities play off of each other just so wow. It's so beautiful. Here's your turn right here.
And I do think, though, an MVP or a special shout out does need to go to Kamala Khan.
Right.
And I'm sorry I'm not calling her by her real name, and I apologize.
Iman Vellani.
Yeah. Who just is such a little ball of energy. She is such, and I remember watching the Ms. Marvel series, and that was the thing that caught me about that one. Is she is just delightful.
Yes, and right exactly like, 14-year-old
14, 15, yeah.
Yes, like, just exactly that type of personality. Sitting in a room drawing comics.
Mm-hmm.
She's got her own style. She's got, she's super excited to meet her hero. And I think, like, the more serious, I think Monica would probably be the more serious one in this situation. But playing off of the two and kind of bringing everybody together. I think she's the kind of the glue that holds the Marvels together.
Yeah. And,
So,
but yeah, I just thought she was absolutely delightful. And just and then her family coming along. Like I said, they were fun. They go up on the space station with Nick Fury and their, you know, it was just really, there's real warmth.
There is.
Like there's a genuine warmth that I really liked, and just
like I don't always feel like I want to rewatch the Marvel movies, but I feel like I could watch this one and still have fun with it again. You know?
Yeah.
There's a great scene where they land on a planet with the musical language.
Yes, where they only communicate through song,
which is like so unexpected and wonderful and colorful and beautiful, you know. And then you've got like, oh gosh, there's just I don't want to go into too much of the delightful things that happen.
Yes.
Because like they're just delightful.
That was the moment that I felt like they really they told the design department, okay, this is the sequence you get to kind of go crazy on.
Right. In Olanda.
Yeah. Like
yes.
do the costumes,
I felt like watching that, I felt like I could see it in a comic book.
Yeah.
Like you full on feel like this was pulled directly from the comics. Like it feels like a comic book.
Yeah.
You know? So, and I think that kind of carries through without most of it. Like the scenery just kind of feels that way. And I like that. I like that we have some of the dark, gritty stuff like Hawkeye.
But even that was not that dark and gritty.
Yeah.
I think this is the thing. I think we've talked about this before. I think we've agreed on this before. That the thing that separates the Marvel universe from like the DC universe, is, at least in terms of the movies they were trying to do, is that even when the Marvel films got serious, there was still levity and
yes,
and they don't seem afraid of the fact that their origins are comic books.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, especially when you're getting into going into space and different aliens and different, you know, like supernatural powers and talking raccoons.
Yeah.
And, you know, like you have to kind of embrace the comic book stylings.
And that does, and I think you're right. And we talked about this with Guardians of the Galaxy too. It's like, just because you're embracing the goofiness doesn't mean you can't have serious stories.
Like I said, we're talking literally about genocide.
Yeah.
About destroying worlds and civilizations and people to like take care of your own, and like that is a serious topic, you know. So I think that we are in an interesting space in the Marvel universe. Sorry, that was a cough.
Like we said, we're getting over stuff. So
here's your turn, hon.
So, okay, so I want to talk about this before we wrap everything up. So we're going to talk about mid-credit sequence. So again,
spoiler alert.
So yeah, usually
skip ahead if you need to.
If you're listening to us, then you don't care about spoilers. But yeah, skip ahead. So in the film's climax, Monica basically sacrifices herself to put the universe back together, and it sends her to another parallel universe, which we've been introduced to the multiverse and Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, so we're hip to that's a thing that goes on. And it turns out that she is in a universe that has the X-Men. Right. Because she's found by Kelsey Grammer as Beast.
Well, she's found by her mom.
Yeah.
Who is
Binary. Which was another Captain Marvel, which is one of Carol Danvers' many, many, many alter egos throughout her history.
And then her doctor is Beast.
Yeah.
So, which is my favorite X-Men. We've had this discussion.
Yep.
Yeah, so the Beast
I'm going to assume that yes, they're saying that she's in the universe with the Fox era X-Men.
So, which is sketchy.
Yes.
So, okay, now you have feelings.
I do, because, like, the thing that's been going on since the minute Disney bought Fox is people saying, okay, when are the Fantastic Four and when are the X-Men going to show up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? And what concerns me a little bit right now is that the two instances of X-Men characters that we've seen, Professor X and Beast, have been from, or representatives of the Fox version, the Fox era of these films.
Wait, was that Winter Soldier, or was that...
It was,
Civil War?
No, it was, Multiverse.
Multiverse.
With Doctor Strange.
Okay, so the multiverse then
It was Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
And what concerns me is I want to see the X-Men in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as much as the next person. I think that's what they kind of need to kind of revitalize the franchise a little bit.
Okay.
But I do not want to see them just copy-paste the Fox era actors and characters and storylines over and just have them continue on. I
don't think they can, because even if they do Kelsey Grammer as Beast, he's going to be an older Beast because Kelsey Grammer is older and Hugh Jackman is older.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, still looks great, but still older.
Patrick Stewart's in his 90s.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart, as hard as as much as it would be heartbreaking to see him go, he's not going to be around for a 10-year, movie.
Yeah.
So I think that possibly what they would have to do would bring in some of those characters.
Yeah.
As maybe even making it so that doesn't Wolverine take over the school at some point?
Everybody has taken over that school at some point.
So
yeah.
having them as the older generation and bringing in some new different characters.
Well, and again, it's one of those things where you have to see where it's going, because if they're just doing it as kind of a little fan service, nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Nothing wrong. I know they're gonna Hugh Jackman's gonna be in the Deadpool movie.
Right. But how much is he major character?
I think he is. I think that's one of the major things they were selling the movie on was he was coming back.
So.
But
I feel like they're going to if they're going to bring back X-Men completely, it's gonna have to be because they've tried to reboot with Wolverine and Dr. X or Professor X and Beast and all of that, and they weren't great,
Yeah.
And I think that they're going to have to focus on the ones that kind of got left behind.
Well, what I want to see them do, and I think this is, and like I say, I don't mind fan service. I don't mind bringing these people in for one last kind of hoorah, like you did with Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, that was fun.
Don't mind that. But I think the X-Men need a clean slate in terms of their movies.
Right.
They need to start over, new actors, new interpretations of the characters.
Let's pretend like the James McAvoy universe just didn't happen.
Yeah. That's, or it's off in its own parallel, but I think to bring them into the MCU, I just feel they need...
You know what?
They need a fresh start.
The hard part for me about Wolverine being in the Deadpool movies is that I felt like he had such a closure in Logan.
Yeah.
And Logan, was it set in the future?
It was set in a possible future, yeah. So, yeah.
So, I guess it's alternate universe.
I don't know.
You can do anything with an alternate universe, I suppose. But, because I don't know. It just felt like that was a great closure that, you know, it kind of gets robbed from Wolverine.
Oh, there's rumor. I don't know how true this is. There's rumor that Daniel Radcliffe is in Deadpool 3 as something. And there's rumor that he's the new Wolverine.
Oh. But how?
multiple universes. You can get away with it.
Okay.
You know? But again, I don't know how true that is. It's just one of those things that people say. But so anyway, so that's all future reviews, future movies. But let's bring it in and wrap it up here. So final grade for you for The Marvels.
Oh, for me it's an A+ superhero movie. Like, for me it's A+. I love the scenery, I love the relationship, I love the storyline. I felt like the villain was well played out and fleshed out. It left me with warm, happy feelings. So that's an A+ superhero movie for me.
Okay.
You?
For me, it's an A-.
Okay.
Like, just because I didn't think it was the greatest thing ever.
Okay.
But it was fun, it was enjoyable, it was lighthearted, it was what I needed at that moment.
Right.
You know? And I don't think it was as big and as epic as some of the other ones. But and we talked about this with Ant-Man, they don't all have to be big and epic. Sometimes you just need a fun movie.
Also, I don't know how it's not epic. She saved the universe. Like, come on. I think your definition of epic is too broad.
Maybe.
So.
So.
All right. Well.
But all in all, a fun movie.
All right.
So.
Way better than skip watching the Greek wedding one and go see the Marvels.
Yes, exactly. Okay. God, coughing again. Trying to wrap up. Trying to cough. All right. I think so. All right. So anyway, so thank you all for coming along with us. We're going to be dropping some of our mini episodes about Hallmark movies. You are looking very forward to that. So those should be coming up here soon. I think we're going to go in and watch one now.
Yes,
I think is what's going to happen. So be looking for that. So yeah, we're looking forward to bringing you some more reviews as the year wraps up. So happy holidays to you. Thanks for coming along. Thank you, my love, for taking me out to the movies and making me feel better after a rough day. And as always, drive safe, and we will see you at the movies.